Welcome everyone to another exciting match of Ludo King, where today we are going big with a 6-player battle that's set to keep you at the edge of your seat. If you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button, because on this channel we bring you the most intense, colorful, and unpredictable Ludo gameplay you'll ever find. And trust me, you don't want to miss how this one unfolds. Now, let's set the stage. We've got 6 strong contenders, each represented by bold and vibrant colors: blue, yellow, purple, red, green, and orange. 6 colors, 6 strategies, and only one champion by the end of this clash. The beauty of a 6-player match is that there's no easy prediction. Unlike the classic 4-player setup, every decision here shifts the balance dramatically, and that's what makes it so much fun to watch. Right from the start, the table is buzzing with energy. Blue comes in with calm patience, the kind of approach that usually hides some deep strategy. Yellow, on the other hand, wastes no time showing intent. It's always the color you can count on to bring early aggression, never backing down. Purple seems balanced and measured, perhaps waiting for the right opportunities instead of rushing. Then we've got red, fiery as ever, trying to assert dominance with bold moves. Green is steady, resilient, and often underestimated in the early phases, but don't sleep on green, it's the dark horse in many Ludo battles. And finally, orange brings a mix of unpredictability, sometimes cautious, sometimes explosive, making it one of the most entertaining to follow. Already, you can sense how every turn adds tension. Even though we're just getting started, each color is trying to carve out its identity in the match. This is where the psychology of Ludo kicks in. It's not just about rolling numbers, it's about timing, positioning, and sometimes bluffing your opponents into a false sense of security. And in a 6-player game, alliances and rivalries tend to form quickly. Imagine this for a moment: blue is quietly building a foundation, while yellow seems to be eyeing red as a rival. Purple, with its composed style, is biding time, while green has already started showing hints of defensive brilliance. Orange, well, orange looks like it wants to stir up chaos from the very beginning. That unpredictability can be dangerous to others, but it can also backfire spectacularly. That's why 6-player Ludo is a true test of adaptability. As the match develops, notice how the table dynamic shifts constantly. One moment, yellow is leading the charge and looking unstoppable, and the very next, a smart play from green or purple can flip the script completely. Red is always looking for opportunities to assert dominance, but in a 6-player match, overconfidence can become a trap. Now, if you're enjoying how this is building up, don't just sit back. Hit that like button, drop a comment with your favorite color of the 6, and subscribe for more matches like this. I love seeing which color the community roots for. Will it be the calm strategy of blue, the fiery passion of red, the resilience of green, the balance of purple, the aggression of yellow, or the unpredictability of orange? Stick with me, because the longer the game goes, the more dramatic and unpredictable it becomes. 6 players means 6 storylines unfolding at the same time, and by the end, you'll see why every second counts. So buckle up, we're only getting warmed up, and this 6-player Ludo King battle is already shaping up to be one for the books. Let's dive deeper and watch how these colors clash for supremacy. As the game moves forward, the tension starts to thicken. 6 players, 6 unique personalities on the board, and already, the table looks like a battlefield of colors. What's fascinating about a 6-player match is how quickly the momentum can swing. No single color is safe, and no single player can relax for even a moment. Blue, staying true to its calm and patient nature, is still holding back, observing the pace, and waiting for that perfect timing to shift gears. It's almost like watching a chess player analyze the board before making the bold move that changes everything. The patience of blue might seem slow right now, but often in Ludo, it's the steady ones who sneak into the lead later on. Yellow, however, is turning up the intensity. You can sense the hunger from yellow's moves, always pressing forward, always looking for that little window to strike. It's the kind of approach that keeps everyone else on their toes. Yellow doesn't just play for survival, it plays to dominate. The risk, of course, is that too much aggression can create more enemies on the board. And in a 6-player setup, having too many rivals gunning for you can be costly. Purple continues to embody balance. Not rushing, not lagging, but staying right in the middle ground, quietly weaving into the game. This measured style can be deceiving because purple rarely attracts direct attention early on. And that's a smart position to hold. When others clash head to head, purple might slip through unnoticed and suddenly surge later. Red is fiery as always. Every turn feels like red wants to stamp authority, to make a statement. But here's the thing about red, its boldness is both its greatest strength and its biggest weakness. If the momentum flows in red's favor, it looks unstoppable, but the moment it faces a setback, frustration can creep in. And in a game this long, handling pressure matters as much as strategy. Green is already starting to show its resilience. You can almost feel how green is positioning itself like a shield, defending against pressure, playing carefully, and minimizing risks. This color often shines in the long haul, and in a 6-player match, where chaos can erupt at any moment, resilience is a priceless trait. And then there's orange, wild, unpredictable, and exciting. Sometimes, orange looks like it's on the verge of losing control, and then suddenly it pulls off a sequence that changes the rhythm of the whole table. This unpredictability makes orange one of the most entertaining to watch, but it also makes it dangerous to the other players, because you never know what to expect. By now, the board is alive with energy. 6 different strategies are colliding, and every move is a tiny story on its own. This is the beauty of Ludo King. It's not just rolling numbers, it's reading your opponents, knowing when to push, when to hold back, and when to strike. In fact, the psychology behind it is what keeps millions hooked worldwide. Notice how alliances seem to form naturally. Yellow's aggressive approach puts pressure on red, but green quietly takes advantage of the distraction. Meanwhile, purple avoids conflict, silently climbing up the ranks while no one pays much attention. Orange keeps everyone guessing, and blue continues to sit back, watching, calculating, and waiting. That's why this format is so addictive. 6 players make it almost impossible to predict what will happen next. Just when you think one color has secured the lead, the next turn can flip everything upside down. And the viewers love it, because it feels like every second is packed with action. Now, if you're enjoying the tension so far, don't forget to smash that like button and hit subscribe if you haven't already. I post games like this regularly, and trust me, if you love seeing underdogs rise and favorites fall, this channel is the place to be. entering the heart of the battle, the mid-game phase. This is where the real drama begins to unfold. In a 6-player Ludo King match, the opening is all about setting tone, but the middle game. That's where strategies clash, rivalries ignite, and turning points emerge that can decide the destiny of the entire match. Look closely at the table now. Blue, once so quiet and observant, is finally starting to reveal its intentions. You can sense the shift, it's no longer about sitting back. Blue is beginning to push forward, with a mix of caution and precision. The patience we saw earlier wasn't weakness, it was calculation. And this is often what makes blue such a dangerous presence. Opponents may have ignored it in the beginning, but now, it's slowly carving its way into contention. Yellow, still fiery and relentless, is pushing the tempo hard. It's almost like yellow refuses to slow down, determined to keep applying pressure no matter the cost. But here's the risk. In a 6-player game, aggression invites retaliation. You can already see hints of other colors keeping an eye on yellow. Nobody wants to let one player run away with the momentum, and yellow's dominance is now a target painted on its back. Purple, with its calm and balanced rhythm, continues to stay in the middle of the action without drawing too much fire. And that's a clever move. By not appearing too threatening, purple avoids unnecessary rivalries. This strategy often pays off because when others are busy battling each other, purple simply continues to move steadily, keeping options open. It's not flashy, but in a chaotic table like this, being consistent is a winning formula. Red, on the other hand, is doubling down on boldness. Every play from red feels like a statement: I'm here to win, and I'm not afraid to take risks. That kind of fiery spirit is exciting for us to watch, but it also creates high stakes. If things go well, red can surge into the lead with momentum, but a single setback could slow down that fire. And in a 6-player brawl, the line between dominance and downfall is razor thin. Green's resilience is starting to shine through. Other colors may be busy with flashy plays and aggressive approaches, but green is steady, almost stubborn in its style. Green focuses on maintaining stability, and this quiet persistence could turn into a huge advantage later. Often in Ludo, the ones who don't panic, who keep grinding forward despite setbacks, end up climbing higher than expected. Then there's Orange, the wildcard of the group. Orange thrives on unpredictability. One moment it looks like it's on the brink of collapse, and the very next, it's making waves that disturb everyone's rhythm. This is why Orange is both exciting and dangerous. The unpredictability makes it impossible to plan against, forcing others to constantly adjust. And in a match where adaptability is key, Orange keeps the entire table guessing. This middle phase is also where we start seeing clear rivalries. Yellow and red appear to be clashing head to head, neither willing to give an inch. That duel alone is adding so much intensity to the board. Meanwhile, green and purple are almost forming a silent rivalry of consistency, each determined to show who can stay steady the longest. Blue is quietly creeping in, and orange keeps throwing curveballs into the mix. Every single turn at this stage carries weight. The stakes are higher, the risks are sharper, and the rewards of smart plays are more impactful. The board is no longer just about moving, it's about positioning, about creating tension, about forcing others into mistakes. And the more crowded the table gets, the harder it becomes for anyone to stay in control. For you watching at home, this is where Ludo King truly becomes addictive. Every move feels like a potential game changer. The beauty of a 6-player match is that no one is ever truly safe. You can be leading one moment and struggling the next. We're now deep into the middle game, and this is the stage where everything gets unpredictable. The calm opening has disappeared, and what we have now is pure chaos, a swirl of strategies, rivalries, and sudden swings in momentum. With 6 players on the board, every turn feels like it could either build a winning path or tear down hours of progress. Blue, the quiet observer from the early stages, is no longer hiding. It's starting to play with confidence, taking smart, calculated risks. What makes Blue so fascinating is its ability to switch gears. Early patience has now transformed into mid-game assertiveness. This shift shows why patience pays off. When everyone else is busy fighting rivalries, Blue emerges, steady and dangerous, reminding everyone that consistency wins games. Yellow is still fiery, but you can sense the pressure building. At first, the aggressive style looked unstoppable, but now the other colors are responding. You can almost feel a table-wide agreement forming. Nobody wants Yellow to run away with this game. And that's the risk of being the most aggressive player in a 6-player format. Sooner or later, everyone teams up to slow you down. But credit where it's due, Yellow is holding strong, fighting back with the same energy that made it dominant earlier. Purple remains the master of balance. It's not drawing much heat from rivals, but it's always there, always moving forward. The mid-game suits Purple well because while others are distracted by flashy plays and emotional clashes, Purple just keeps building momentum quietly. It's like the marathon runner in the pack, conserving energy for the final sprint. If Purple can keep this rhythm, the late game could tilt heavily in its favor. Red is pushing with relentless fire, but here's where it gets tricky. Boldness attracts attention. Just like Yellow, Red is finding itself locked in rivalries. Every time Red makes a strong push, another color steps up to block. That's the nature of a 6-player match. There's always someone ready to counter your dominance. But you can't deny the excitement Red brings. Every move feels like it's swinging for glory, and that makes it one of the most captivating colors to follow. Green's resilience is becoming clearer now. While others are clashing, Green is calmly weathering the storm. It's like a rock in a rushing river, taking the hits but refusing to be swept away. This steady, defensive playstyle may not grab headlines early, but it pays off later. In long matches like this one, it's not always about who shines the brightest, it's about who endures the longest. And Orange, as always, is the wild card, the spark of unpredictability. One moment it looks like Orange is falling behind, and the next, it's causing a shift that unsettles the entire table. This unpredictability can be frustrating for its rivals because it breaks their rhythm. But for us watching, it's pure entertainment. Orange makes sure nobody feels comfortable. Every time it takes a turn, the question is, will this be chaos or brilliance? At this stage, the board feels alive, colors clashing, strategies colliding, momentum shifting with every roll. And what makes it truly thrilling is that no one is safe. The leaders, Yellow and Red, were under pressure. The steady ones, Blue, Green, and Purple, were climbing slowly but surely. And Orange is stirring the pot, ensuring that this match doesn't follow a predictable script. This is why 6-player Ludo King matches are so addictive to watch. It's not just about numbers, it's about tension, drama, and survival. Every move carries weight, and the further the game progresses, the higher the stakes become. At this point, every small decision could be the difference between glory and collapse. If you're still with me right now, that means you're as hooked as I am. And that's exactly why you should hit that subscribe button, because we bring you these rollercoaster Ludo King matches every week. crossed the halfway mark, and now we're entering the late game, the most dramatic phase of any six-player Ludo King battle. The board is crowded, the tension is sky high, and the pressure is crushing. This is the stage where strategies either shine brilliantly or collapse completely. Every single move counts twice as much now because one mistake could cost the game. Blue, the patient and calculated contender, has fully come alive. That slow start we saw earlier wasn't hesitation, it was strategy. Now Blue is surging with determination, playing with confidence and precision. You can feel that Blue had a plan all along: survive the chaos of the middle game, then rise in the late stages. And it's working. Rivals who once ignored Blue now realize it's a serious threat, but by the time they turn their attention, Blue has already gained momentum. Yellow is still fierce, still aggressive, but the cracks are starting to show. That relentless energy, while thrilling, has also made Yellow a target. Every rival knows that if Yellow gets too much breathing space, it could claim the game. So now we see multiple players testing Yellow, slowing it down, and forcing it into tough spots. Still, the sheer willpower of Yellow can't be underestimated. Even when cornered, it pushes forward with intensity, refusing to back down. Purple continues its balanced approach, steady, consistent, rarely making mistakes. And now, in the late game, that patience is paying off. While Red and Yellow are tangled in rivalries, Purple is quietly climbing, almost unnoticed. It's the classic under-the-radar strategy. Don't attract too much attention early, then cash in when the board gets chaotic. Purple might not have been the loudest player, but right now, it's one of the most dangerous. Red, bold and fiery, is fighting tooth and nail. Every turn from Red feels like it carries fire and urgency. But here's the challenge: being bold in the late game is a gamble. If fortune is on Red's side, it could make a dramatic leap, but if things go wrong, it could fall short at the worst possible moment. Watching Red in this stage is pure drama. Will that fire burn bright until the end, or will it flame out just before the finish line? Green is the symbol of resilience. It might not always be flashy, but it refuses to give up. Every setback that would break another player, Green absorbs and keeps moving forward. This resilience becomes even more powerful in the late game, where pressure breaks most players. Green thrives in these moments, and this stubborn persistence could turn into a shocking comeback if the others underestimate it. And then, of course, Orange, the unpredictable, chaotic force of this match. If there's one thing we've learned, it's to expect the unexpected from Orange. Sometimes it looks lost, and then suddenly it makes a sequence that disrupts everyone else's plans. That unpredictability is its greatest weapon, because how do you prepare for chaos? As we move deeper into the late game, Orange remains the wild card nobody can figure out. At this stage, the rivalries are boiling. Yellow and Red are still locked in their heated duel, draining each other's chances. Purple and Green are locked in a quiet race for steady advancement. Blue is climbing fast, turning patience into power. And Orange is stirring the pot, forcing everyone else to react. This is why late-game Ludo King is so gripping. It's not just a game, it's a showdown of endurance, strategy, and courage. Every color has a chance, and every turn feels like it could swing the outcome. One slip, one moment of hesitation, one small miscalculation, and everything can fall apart. For you watching right now, this is the part where you can't blink. If you've been enjoying the ride so far, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe so you never miss these epic six-player showdowns. And I want to hear from you. Who do you think will come out on top? Drop your prediction in the comments below. We've entered the final stretch, the last phase before the endgame strikes. At this point, the board is more than just colors and moves, it's a battlefield where only the strongest can endure. After nearly an hour of twists, rivalries, and resilience, the tension is at its highest. Viewers, this is where champions are made and pretenders are exposed. Blue has fully transformed from patient observer to determined contender. The late bloom has paid off, and now Blue is sitting in a strong position. What makes Blue dangerous here is how controlled its style is. No panic, no rush, just calm, deliberate progress. In the late game, when emotions often overwhelm players, Blue's steady hand might just be its greatest weapon. It's almost as if Blue waited all this time for the others to exhaust themselves, and now it's striking at the perfect moment. Yellow, though bruised from the rivalries and constant pressure, is still standing tall. The aggressive energy has slowed slightly under the weight of constant opposition, but you can't deny its fighting spirit. Every move from Yellow feels like a defiant stand. I'm still here, and I'm not going down without a fight. That sheer determination makes Yellow a dangerous player, because even when cornered, it pushes forward with fire in its eyes. Purple's balanced approach is shining even brighter now. While others burned energy in rivalries, Purple preserved its strength. And now, in this crucial phase, Purple looks smooth, steady, and threatening. This is what makes balance so powerful. It doesn't attract too much attention, but it doesn't lag either. And when the time comes, it has the energy to push hard. Purple may not have been the loudest player all game, but now it's silently building toward a potential final push. Red is still fiery, still bold, but this phase is testing its limits. That aggressive style that thrilled us earlier is now a double-edged sword. Every push is risky, and every setback feels heavier. Yet, Red refuses to back down. It's still swinging with passion, still trying to dominate. And while that fire could either carry it to glory or burn out before the finish line, one thing's for sure, Red is going to give us drama until its very last moment. Green, the resilient warrior, is as solid as ever. What's remarkable about Green is how it never loses composure. Even when setbacks pile up, it keeps moving forward, steady as a heartbeat. That resilience is paying off right now. While others falter under the late-game stress, Green remains consistent. This persistence makes it a real contender, especially in a format where survival is half the battle. And then there's Orange, the storm on the board. True to form, Orange continues to be unpredictable, disrupting plans and injecting chaos into every sequence. Sometimes it looks like Orange is out of the race, and then suddenly it pulls off a move that changes everything. This unpredictability means Orange can never be written off. In fact, it thrives in moments like these, when the pressure is highest and the board is most unstable. By now, the rivalries are reaching breaking point. Yellow and Red, locked in their fiery clash, are paying the price of constant war. Purple and Green are neck and neck in their battle of consistency, each trying to prove who's steadier. Blue is emerging as the quiet assassin, finally claiming space and respect. And Orange. Orange is keeping everyone on edge, its wild swings leaving the rest uncertain of how to respond. This is what makes the final phase of a 6-player Ludo King match so exhilarating. Every move feels like destiny. The smallest slip could ruin hours of hard work, while a moment of brilliance could rewrite the ending. No one is safe, and every color still has a chance to grab victory. For those watching, this is why you can't leave now. The most dramatic moments are right around the corner. If you're enjoying this clash of colors and strategies, don't just watch, subscribe. we are, the final moments of this incredible six-player Ludo King battle. After more than an hour of strategy, rivalry, and unpredictable twists, it all comes down to this. The tension is electric. The board is tighter than ever, and every color is pushing for that last ounce of glory. One by one, the contenders are revealing their true character, and the finish line is now within sight. Blue, the calm strategist, is standing tall. From patience in the beginning to quiet dominance in the middle, Blue has proved that timing is everything. Its journey has been like a slow-burning fire, quiet at first, but blazing strong when it mattered most. Whether or not Blue secures the win, its methodical approach has been a masterclass in how patience pays off in a chaotic six-player clash. Yellow, battered but unbroken, is giving its all. Every late move from Yellow feels like a defiant roar, bold, aggressive, and unwilling to fade away. The relentless fighting spirit that made Yellow a force from the very beginning is still here in the closing minutes. Even against overwhelming odds, Yellow is proving that sometimes heart and determination matter as much as strategy. Purple, consistent from start to finish, is showing why balance is one of the most underrated strategies. It hasn't made too much noise, but it's been quietly effective the whole time. And now, in the endgame, Purple looks sharp, calm, and dangerous. If it can hold steady just a little longer, it has a real chance to surprise everyone and finish among the strongest. Red, ever the fiery warrior, is refusing to bow out quietly. Every single turn, Red plays like it's swinging for glory. That energy, that passion, makes Red one of the most captivating players to watch, even in these final moments. Whether Red surges to victory or falls short, one thing is undeniable: it brought drama, fire, and pure intensity to this entire match. Green continues to embody resilience. From start to finish, it has never let setbacks define it. Every push forward feels like a statement: I may stumble, but I will not stop. And that resilience is shining brightest now, in the closing minutes, where only those with strong nerves can endure. Green's persistence may just turn into the miracle story of this match. And finally, Orange, the unpredictable storm, remains as chaotic and thrilling as ever. True to its wild spirit, Orange is still making unexpected moves, keeping the table nervous until the very last turn. Whether it wins or not, Orange has been the spark of unpredictability, the one color that made sure nobody could ever feel safe. The chaos Orange has unleashed has shaped the entire flow of this battle. At this point, the board is alive with suspense. Every move could be the final blow, the last push, the decisive moment. The leaders are under immense pressure, the underdogs are making desperate surges, and the viewers, you watching right now, are witnessing the climax of one of the most thrilling six-player Ludo King matches you'll ever see. And then, it happens. The final moves are played, the last clashes unfold, and slowly, one color rises above the rest. Out of 6 determined contenders, only one claims the spotlight. Victory doesn't come easy in a 6-player format. It takes patience, courage, strategy, resilience, and sometimes a touch of chaos. But today, one color proves it had all the ingredients to outlast the rest. Take a moment and let it sink in. What an incredible journey this match has been. From the opening moments to the heated rivalries, from the unpredictable mid-game swings to this dramatic finish, every color gave us a story, and every turn added to the suspense. This is why Ludo King remains one of the most addictive, heart-racing games out there. Before we wrap up, I have a question for you. Which color impressed you the most today? Was it the patient and strategic blue, the fierce and fiery yellow, the balanced purple, the bold red, the resilient green, or the unpredictable orange? Drop your answer in the comments. I want to hear your take on who truly owned this game. If you loved this match as much as I did, make sure to smash that like button. It helps more people discover these epic battles. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, because we bring you the best Ludo King content every single week. From wild 6-player clashes to intense 4-player duels, every game is packed with drama, strategy, and unforgettable moments. Thank you so much for watching and for being part of this amazing community. Stay tuned, because the next battle might just top this one. Until then, keep playing, keep cheering, and keep believing, because in Ludo King, anything can happen.
Hey.